Footage released by the State Border Guard Service of Ukraine shows Ukrainian border guards firing at Russians in house-to-house battles in the city of Bakhmut in eastern Ukraine. The footage appears to show Ukraine fighters shooting out of windows and houses or other buildings destroyed by the war. In the video released last Tuesday on Facebook, the Border Guard Service said 4 Russian occupiers were killed and 5 were wounded. Yevgeny Prigozhin, the founder of the Russian paramilitary organization Wagner Group, said the Russian fighters in the area would storm house by house, square meter by square meter. There has been heavy fighting in Bakhmut for the past week as Russian troops aim to take the city that has acquired emblematic importance to both sides, according to Al Jazeera. Russian leader Vladimir Putin wants to capture Bakhmut by the war's one-year mark on February 24th, Sky News reported. Meanwhile, an unverified video circulating on social media showed close-quarter trench fighting between Russian and Ukrainian soldiers firing machine guns, RPGs, and throwing grenades, as fighting intensifies in eastern Ukraine as the one-year anniversary of Russia's invasion of the country draws near. The clip shows 2 Ukrainian soldiers in the trench fighting back against an unknown amount of Russian troops. The footage was posted on February 17th by Twitter user Deans Tortoli, who supports Ukraine's fight against Russia, according to his Twitter bio. It has so far been viewed more than 2 million times. Ukrainian forces have held off shelling of 20 settlements near Bakhmut as of Friday, General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces said in a Facebook post. In the battle for Bakhmut, Ukrainian Special Forces surprised PMC Wagner soldiers earlier this month. With Russia's continuing armed conflict with Ukraine, Ukrainian City has come to be a focal point in the almost year-long fight against its democratic border. About 13 kilometers from Bakhmut. Meanwhile, the drone filmed the moment of the destruction of the T-90M breakthrough tank. The circumstances of the defeat of the latter have not yet been disclosed. However, on video footage taken by an unmanned aerial vehicle, you can see that the right side of the combat vehicle is on fire, which probably indicates that the latter was hit from the flank by unknown weapons. Apparently, we are talking about ATGM. In the presented video frames, you can see that the starboard side of the tank is engulfed in fire. However, at the same time, the hatches of the tank are open, which indicates that the crew, in all likelihood, managed to leave the damaged combat vehicle and was not seriously injured. It is reported that the video footage was filmed on the territory of the Kharkiv region, which may indicate an organized attack on Kupiansk, which Avia Pro journalists have previously reported. However, there are no details on this yet. To date, the Russian army is successfully advancing on several front lines at once, and even the defensive areas and fortifications built by the armed forces of Ukraine do not provide any slowdown, as evidenced by the retreat of Ukrainian units in a westerly direction. On Friday, Ukraine's Deputy Prime Minister urged any civilians still living in Bakhmut to leave as Ukrainian soldiers clash with Russians encroaching on the small city. If you are rational, law-abiding, and patriotic citizens, you should leave the city immediately, Irina Vereshchuk said in a message on Telegram. World leaders met in Munich, Germany, on Saturday to assess the war that has been marked by thousands of civilian casualties over the past year. Give us more military equipment, more weapons, and we will deal with the Russian occupier. We will destroy them, a serviceman in Bakhmut named Dimitrov said to the conference, Reuters reported. Vice President Kamala Harris said at the Munich Security Conference on Saturday that the U.S. had determined that Russia had committed crimes against humanity. Russian forces are responsible for a widespread and systematic attack against Ukrainian civilians, she said, including execution-style killings, rape, and torture. More than 30,000 fighters from the Wagner Group, often regarded as Putin's de facto private army, have been killed or injured since the invasion of Ukraine began, according to U.S. officials. Speaking at a press conference on Friday, Coordinator for Strategic Communications at the National Security Council in the White House John Kirby said, while fighting in Ukraine, we estimate now that Wagner has suffered more than 30,000 casualties, including approximately 9,000 killed in action. He added that half of the Wagner fighters who have perished in the war had died since mid-December when fighting around the eastern city of Bakhmut intensified. Kirby stated that, according to U.S. intelligence, 90% of the Wagner Group soldiers killed in the last 2.5 months were convicts. Kirby said that the Wagner Group are treating their recruits, largely convicts, as cannon fodder, throwing them into a literal meat grinder here, in human ways, without a second thought. This bleak description comes as the Wagner Group released a video on Telegram showing stacks of bodies piled up in Bakhmut, saying a lack of ammunition is killing their men. "We're losing our fighters every day. It would be half as much if the military officials were to supply us with weapons and ammunition on time," a man in a hazmat suit said in the video. While the Wagner Group has made limited advances in Bakhmut, Kirby said this gain has come at a devastating cost that is not sustainable. It is possible that they may end up being successful in Bakhmut, but it will prove of no real worth to them because it is of no real strategic value, the Security Council official said. A recent intelligence briefing from the UK Ministry of Defence stated that the rate of Russian soldiers being wounded or killed has significantly increased since Putin's mobilization in September. According to British intelligence, 40,000 to 60,000 Russian soldiers and Wagner Group fighters have been killed since February 2022. By modern standards, these figures represent a high ratio of personnel killed compared to those wounded. This is almost certainly due to extremely rudimentary medical provision across much of the force, said the MOD.